And on Snake Island, which you'll remember for that defiant stand made by the Ukrainian forces at the start of the invasion, there's new video of a Russian helicopter being destroyed by Ukrainian missile strike. Ukraine says its forces have destroyed multiple Russian assets on the island in recent weeks, and that a Russian support ship that is named for a famous Soviet athlete is on fire and being towed away from the island, a claim that we should note CNN has not been able to verify.
All right, joining me now is retired U.S. Army Major Mike Lyons. Talk about what's been happening in the Black Sea, these battles that have been going on around Snake Island, which is right there. What's the significance of that?
So the Russian Black Sea Fleet, about 40 combat vehicles and ships, they clearly have control over that area there. There's international waters there. NATO ships can go there as well. But there's a fight that's going to come here on the Black Sea. And what the Ukraine military is going to do is the same thing that they're doing on land here. They're going to use drones, Harpoon missiles coming from Britain. And what they're going to end up doing is trying to fight a naval battle without a navy. It's unbelievable when you think about it. But the coastal defenses that they have are up to speed again, 21st century versus World War II. The Russian Black Sea Fleet is going to be in for a fight.
That's really interesting right now in this day and age, fighting a naval battle. You can see in the yellow there, that's the area where the Ukrainians have regained some territory. You push in here, it looks a little bigger. Explain to me the keys here of this Russian retreat.
Okay, so what's happened is Russia recognizes it failed around Kharkiv. And outside of artillery range right now, they're now going to reposition most of these forces down in this area here. So before, they were looking to have two avenues of approach down to that salient that exists down in the Donbass region. And then eventually they have to get to Kramatorsk because that's where the infrastructure is, that's where the lines of communications are, all those things are in there. So instead, they're going to negate this complete axis here. They're going to focus all their combat power now right here. What it's going to do is it's going to allow the Ukraine military to do the same, adjust. They're now going to reposition most of their forces down here. You're going to see a very big battle, I think, ensue down in the sea.
Before we go push into that area there, I just want to talk about bigger picture here. The Russians made a big play for the capital, Kyiv, the largest city in Ukraine. They made a big play for Kharkiv, the second largest city. They thought this city would fall right away. The Russians have failed in both counts. What does that tell you?
Yeah, accumulated in both spots, and they're at least learning. They're trying to adjust, but it just goes to show you they don't have enough troops. The Ukraine military has performed superbly. The 21st century tactics and technology is beating the World War II tactics and technology, and that's really what's happening every day.
When you look, though, in Donbass, and we were talking about Rubizhne, this is this city that there's been a lot of fighting, and the Ukrainians now report they've lost a key foothold there. Is it possible that the Russians are sort of, with this slow creep, beginning to take over the territory they want?
I think the Ukraine military is going to look at this as possibly losing a battle but still winning the war. So they might lose certain areas and certain cities in that regard. But if they can reinforce now behind it, okay, and perform both a static defense, bring that equipment in from the west, the artillery is proving critical every single day. I think that's what their mindset is. And I'm sure that's what we're telling them. That's how they got to look at this.
Now, when we look at the big geopolitical moves that have happened the last few days, Finland, the leaders of Finland saying they want to join NATO without delay. Sweden also. So what happens then if Finland and Sweden are in NATO and Russia already saying they're not going to take this lying down?
Well, that gives them Article 5 protection. It's going to take a while for that to happen. Both of those countries are additive to NATO right now, 30-member countries. Both of those countries would add significant impact to NATO. I've never been one to add some of these countries that we've added. Unfortunately, in the past, only 22 out of the 30 NATO nations actually spend the 2% of their GDP. So NATO's had problems. This is one of Vladimir Putin's miscalculations. He didn't think NATO was going to get its stuff together in order to respond the way it has. But in this case, it's different. Finland with 5 million people, terrific military, no border disputes, a democracy. They would be in NATO tomorrow and be additive.
Yeah, don't sleep on Finland. Finland's got a military, a well-trained military that knows how to fight.